Good evening, my fellow exorcists, and welcome to the lair of the Iron Exorcist. Tonight, the United States Avengers will be reviewing Marvel's What If, Episode 7. What if Thor were an only child? Thor, who never learned to be a good hero, decides to throw an all-out party on Earth, or Midgard as they call it. So pretty much Odin never adopts Loki. That's the big change in the timeline. Loki never gets adopted. Instead, Odin returns him to Laufey as a peace offering, so that the war with the Frost Giants ends. And pretty much it's Thor 1, except without Loki mucking things up for Thor. Thor isn't a war-crazy idiot. Instead, he's a party-crazy idiot. So there isn't really that much of a change. I mean, a lot of people give this episode heat because nothing really changed. I mean, Loki and Thor actually are friends in this universe. They're brothers from another mother. They also pick on how Loki was supposed to be the runt of the Frost Giants, and in this, he's massive. There is some speculation that maybe Odin made him puny and Asgardian-like to make it so Loki would believe that he was actually an Asgardian instead of a Frost Giant, so maybe it was dark magic controlling his perspective. But in this, he's a massive Frost Giant like his father, and he's just as excited to party as Thor is, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, no, they're really good friends in this. There's no conflict between them, except Loki kind of leaves Thor hanging when Freya announces that she's coming back early from visiting her sisters. Odin goes into Odin's sleep, like in Thor the movie. The only difference is Thor throws a giant party on Midgard. I mean, so Thor and Jane Foster fall in love, like in Thor. She essentially is the reason why Freya comes back to end the party early. We get a really interesting battle between Thor and Captain Marvel. I mean, this was really good, and it shows that Captain Marvel would be beaten by Thor because Mjolnir can only be lifted by those who are worthy, and Captain Marvel obviously isn't worthy enough to lift the hammer, so she loses the first battle. Second battle, because Freya appears and announces that she's on her way to end the party. Essentially, Thor is pushed into a corner before the United States blows him up. Essentially, it's your typical, oh no, the parents are coming. We gotta clean this huge mess up. We gotta clean the house. We gotta make everything the way it was so that we don't get in trouble, which kind of backfires. But anyway, I kind of agree with everyone. I'm not that big of a fan of this episode because it's been done way too many times, and pretty much the ending doesn't change from your typical what if. I mean, Thor pretty much becomes a great hero because he realizes he's wrong for what he did, which ends up, I mean, to be honest, it didn't matter if he had Loki or not. He was still gonna figure out how to become a hero, which, this is stupid. This was a bad idea, and you literally did nothing different except make Thor a party animal. There was literally no reason to have this episode other than to reveal that Ultron has the Infinity Stones and that he might be the multiverse's big bad of What If. And he might ruin all the multiverses, and that's why we'll get the Multiverse Avengers. Or the Multiverse Coalition. I don't remember the name of it, but essentially this episode wasn't really needed. They would have been better off just doing how Ultron got the Infinity Stones, and hopefully that happens in the next episode. But let's face it, this was a mistake. This episode was a mistake. The ending scene doesn't really make sense because nothing set it up. I mean, I do find it funny that the Watcher didn't understand what was going on, that he was so surprised at Ultron's appearance. I also will admit that I was kind of one of those idiots that thought that it was Kang the Conqueror coming through the portal, not realizing right away that it was Ultron. But, yeah, nah, I'm giving this episode a straight up D for, I mean, it set up a new story that's hopefully gonna pay off in the later episodes, but yeah, this episode was not needed. This was just Thor, but with a different concept and a similar ending, very similar ending. And honestly, it's a waste of time. I mean, yeah, there's the idea that because Loki never became Thor's brother, we won't have to worry about the Avengers movie happening. But, yeah. What were you guys thinking? This was a bad idea. And it was a waste of most of our time. So, yeah. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click the little notification bell for more content. And United States Avengers, aka Iron Exorcist, disbanding. Or disassembling, I mean. Have a great night, ladies and gentlemen.